I mean, they've already written mine. I'm probably going to rewrite it and make it a little bit nicer, but I can quote what I sent there. Basically, it was, "Dear PAS, Airto, Hall of Fame. Come on, man. Love, Jim." Greetings, everyone. Welcome to the channel. Welcome to this video. As you've probably gleaned already from the title and the opening blurb of this video, the focus of this presentation is Airto Moreira, the great Brazilian percussionist, and the fact that he's not currently in the Percussive Art Society Hall of Fame, something I would like to remedy. It's a project I've taken on, and I'm going to detail some of the steps involved with this. There are a couple of things that I need assistance with. There are one or two things that I can handle on my own, but there's a couple of things that I'm hoping that some of the viewership of this video will be able to step in and offer some assistance. Fingers crossed I have some other fellow Percussive Art Society members viewing this. But let's go with a little bit of a preamble. Let's talk about how I got to the point where I'm making this video. I currently teach percussion up at Keene State College in New Hampshire, and one of my duties is directing the percussion ensemble. And a couple of semesters ago, the focus of the program for that concert was the music of Airto. And being an academic environment, I was tasked with writing up a program for the day and writing up program notes. And in the process of sitting there at my Smith Corona, hammering away, Stud Sturkle style, I thought I should include the fact that Airto is in the PAS Hall of Fame. It's a gimme, right? He's got to be in, right? So rather than just typing, I thought, well, let me look up, find the year that he was inducted. Let me just get that last little detail. So being a member of the Percussive Arts Society, I went to their website, logged in, went to the Hall of Fame page, and started scrolling down the list of names. And they list the names. They list the names alphabetically by first name, which I can't stand, but that's a topic for another time. But such as it is, there's a list. And I thought this is going to be quick because Airto, A is for Airto. It's good enough for me. I'll be able to find his name right away. So I'm scrolling down and I see Alan Abel and Al Payson and Al Lepak and Alan Dawson and Andy Norell and no Airto. So scroll a little further. Maybe they put him under his last name. Maybe he's under Moreira. So I scroll down. Nope, not there. He is not on the page. Shrugged my shoulders, got on, finished the program notes. We gave the concert. It was a great success. And normally that would have been the end of the story for most people. Normally it would have been the end of the story for me because generally I'm not big on halls of fame. It's not a big priority for me, like the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. Couldn't care less. It doesn't blip on my radar screen. Baseball Hall of Fame, used to care about it. And then I realized the Baseball Writers Association of America were never going to vote in the great Louis Tiant. I'm sorry, Baseball Hall of Fame, no El Tiante. You lost me. Deal me out, Hawkeye. So that general disregard for halls of fame in this case, however, is balanced by the fact of something that my parents have impressed on me over the years, which is if you're going to do something, you should do it right. Extrapolated to this conversation, if you're going to have a hall of fame, I would say you have to have the right people in there. If you're going to have a hall of fame devoted to percussion, you got to have Airto in there. How can you not? So that just kind of stuck with me, and it sat in the back of my mind. It just bothered me. The cognitive dissonance, I guess, is the term. So I went back one day and I looked at the website, and I just make sure that I'm not missing something, that I wasn't looking in the wrong place, and I'm searching on his name, and I'm going up and down the page, and he's not in there. I did, however, find the contact information for one of the members of the Hall of Fame committee. So I dropped him a line. Very nice note, no animosity. I'm not angry about it. I just don't understand it. So I said, sorry to bother you, but I gotta ask. I'm at the Hall of Fame page and I don't see Airto. He's really not in, or am I just looking in the wrong places? And about an hour later, got a very polite reply. He says, no, it's not you. He, in fact, is not in the Hall of Fame. He said, we have a nomination process. We'll come back to that in a couple of minutes. We have a nomination process. And he said, apparently, he's never been nominated. He said, and he added, when and if he is nominated, I can tell you the committee would be very happy to consider his candidacy. Great. Which, in retrospect, is probably as good of an answer as I could have expected. It's probably the best answer that he could offer. Wasn't the answer I was hoping for, though. in my parallel universe, if I write in and I say, you got a Percussive Hall of Fame and you don't have Airto, the response would have come back about 5 minutes later. I got together with the Hall of Fame committee. We fixed it. He's in. Thanks for writing. Have a nice day. See you in November. That's my parallel universe. This universe, they have a nomination process. So I decided I can play by the rules. I can play ball. Let's go to the page and see what the nomination process is. So that's what I'm looking at right now. I've got it on my web screen, my screen on my computer, web screen. Good, Jimmy. Screen on my computer, got it dialed up. If I had any sort of computer savvy at all, I'd be able to put it up on the screen of this video, but you just have to deal with me reading it because I don't know what I'm doing when it comes to electronics, as you've seen from the production value of my videos, but I digress. So the deadline for the nominations each year is January. We're too late for this year, of course, but I'm hoping maybe for next year. And required information, the Hall of Fame nomination process. I'm on the PAS website, and I believe you got to be a member of PAS to view this, but I will put a link to the PAS page. Even if you're not interested in this topic, if you're a percussionist or a drummer, it's worth checking out. Not a sponsored video. I just think it's worth checking out. All right, required documentation for Hall of Fame nominees. For an individual nominee, date of birth. If I remember correctly, August 4th, 1941. Got that. For a group nominee, date formation, okay, not a group. Current, okay, so this is where it gets a little interesting. Current email and mailing address of the nominee, or if deceased, fortunately, that's not the case. That's a big swing and a miss for me. I don't have Airto's digits. I did meet the man once, but 21 years ago. We were both clinicians at the Connecticut PAS State Chapter Day of Percussion. Boy, is that a mouthful. And as the day of that event approached, a friend of mine who was the then PAS chapter president approached me and said, I got a favor to ask. Since you're going to be there anyway presenting your clinic, right after he presents his clinic, Airto has to rush down to New York City. He's got a concert at Lincoln Center that night. He's got to get to a sound check. Time is an issue. Would you mind driving him down? And I thought about it for a second, and I thought, okay, that means I get to spend an hour and a half, an audience with Airto, just the two of us hanging out and talking. Yeah, I'm in. Deal me in, Hawkeye. So drove him down, and you know how they say never meet your heroes, you'll be disappointed? No, not in this case. No, he was aces. He was just one of the sweetest, nicest people I've ever met in my life. Very pleasant drive down, great conversation. But that was it. As wonderful as it was, that was it. We got down there, we loaded his stuff out of my car, found an alley to block off in near Lincoln Center where we dropped the stuff off. I think it was Lincoln Center. I don't get down to the city that much. Shook hands. Nice meeting you. Have a great show. Have a great life. I got to go, and I was off on my way. I wish I could have stuck around. It was him, Toots Thielemans, and Kenny Werner. Boy, I bet that was a great show. But be that as it may, that was it. No contact information. He didn't give me his card. He didn't say drop me a line. He didn't say the next time you're in Brazil, come on over, hang out with you, me, and Flora. We'll schmooze. It'll be a thing. No, nothing like that. So I don't have his contact information. This is one of the first things I'm asking in this video. Hopefully someone viewing this might have contact information for Airto. I've got his management. I don't know if that's going to work anymore. I don't think he's active playing anymore, but I'm going to try that. Again, my parallel universe, you just need a way. Contact information is just a way to reach him. Management should work. We'll see if that's okay for the Hall of Fame committee. But in terms of his contact information, no, I don't have that. So maybe if you're watching this, maybe you've worked with Airto, maybe you know Airto, maybe you are Airto. How cool would that be if Airto was watching this video? But I think that's a little bit much to ask from the drum gods, so we'll press on from that. But maybe if you have his contact information and are willing to share it with the Hall of Fame committee, I'm happy to be the facilitator, to take the point on this one and pass it along. If you've got it and don't want to give it to me because you don't know who I am and you don't know if you can trust me, I respect that. It's not about getting it to me. I have no intentions of contacting Airto. He's retired. I'm not going to bother him at this point. As long as the committee gets it, that's the main thing. I mean, you would think that the Percussive Arts Society would already have contact information for Airto Moreira. They've got contact information for me, for heaven's sake. So you think they'd already have it, but then again, you think it'd already be in the Hall of Fame, and we've already had that conversation. So contact information, that's the first thing. Going on the list, brief description of the nominee's achievements which qualify the nominee for entry to the PAS Hall of Fame. Well, we can just list of some of the musicians he's worked with. Forget about the stuff in Brazil before he got here. Quarteto Novo, Homero Pascoal. Let's just start with the jazz musicians he worked with when he got to the United States. Cannonball. Let me know if you've heard of any of these names. Cannonball Adderley, Miles Davis. He was on the first album by Weather Report. He was in the first incarnation of Return to Forever with Chick Corea. The Jazz Crusaders, later became just the Crusaders. His own work as a leader, along with a co-leader with groups with his wonderful wife, the singer Flora Purim, including his band Fourth World, which for my money is the best band I've ever heard in my life. Absolutely amazing. Belated happy birthday to Jose Neto, guitarist in the band, the man behind the white guitar. If you get a chance to see that documentary, I recommend it highly. And that's his performance, and he's also active as an educator and a clinician, and I've railed before about his instructional videos. Rhythm and Colors, Listen and Play, Brazilian Percussion. I finally got my hands on a copy of Listen and Play, interlibrary loan via Keene State, so unfortunately it's got to go back next week. I wonder if I could just tell him I lost it and pay the fine. No, I'll be honest, and I'll give it back. But I finally got it. So these, which are out of date, out of production. Hudson Music, are you guys old DCI? Can you guys help me out with this? I'd love physical media. I'd love to have this on DVD, but I'll settle for streaming. It's criminal that information is going by the boards, as is some of his publications. The Spirit of Percussion. This book goes to the grave with me. It's worth it just for, where's that 7/4 samba? Yeah, taking too much time for this. Right there, page 46. That alone is worth the cost of admission, worth the purchase price, which it would be if this were still published. So, Modern Drummer Publications, wherever you are, whoever has the publications on this, help me out. I'm still looking also for the book, the companion book that goes with the videos. I believe the book's titled Listen and Play. That's nowhere to be found. Even Interlibrary alone came up swing and a miss on that one. So he's worked as a clinician, done educational things, composed, recorded, but as a sideman. I'll mention just a huge list of people he's been a sideman with. I'll mention two. We got Joni Mitchell and Paul Simon. Maybe you've heard of those. So in terms of the work history, if you're watching this, you probably already know all about Airto. And Andy, you'd like to think that the guys at PAS would already know about Airto, but who knows? I won't assume anything. Going down the list, brief description, curriculum vitae or career history. Okay? Well, I can do a career history. I can write a bio on Airto in my sleep. I've been following him since 1981. I just gave you a huge list of the musicians he's worked with. Not good, but I speak academic. I've been on the outskirts of academia enough that I can speak the language. I can write a career history that's nice and concise, not as opposed to the way I'm presenting this video, which is rambling. I can take care of that, and I hope that would be enough, because curriculum vitae or resume, I don't have any sort of resume for Airto. You go on, has Airto Moreira ever actually sent out a resume? I mean, this is probably, I'm sure, PAS has a long relationship to academia. It was founded in large part by college and university professors. So that's the thing. That's more for someone who's a professional educator or publisher or instrument manufacturer, etc. Because I don't think Airto's really done the resume thing in a while. And do you really need to send out a resume if you've been working with, Miles Davis? So that's the next thing. I can write up the history. That's one of the things that I can do myself. And the fifth is multiple letters supporting the nomination. Up to 3 letters of recommendation for a Hall of Fame nominee will be selected by the PAS Executive Director and forwarded to the nominating committee. All right, so multiple. More than one, up to 3. I think it would be wonderful to get like 40 people writing in letters of nomination for this and just jam up their email inbox. But I think three is a safe number. If we can get to 3, 4, somewhere in there, that should be plenty. I mean, I've already written mine. I'm probably going to rewrite it and make it a little bit nicer, but I can quote what I sent there. Basically, it was, "Dear PAS, Airto, Hall of Fame. Come on, man. Love, Jim." So I didn't word it exactly like that, but that was the gist of it. And I think I'm trying to figure out from this if everyone who submits needs to submit all of this information, or if we just need 3 people to write letters and one person can put together the other materials. Not clear from this one. I think the description, there's a lot of information here, but there's some ambiguity, but that's a topic for another time. So let me see. What's the next thing? Criteria for election to the PAS Hall of Fame. Excuse me leaning forward. Judged according to the following criteria. Nominees have demonstrated the highest ideals and professional integrity to their profession. Yeah, I think we're good. I must have a record of sustained contributions to the field. And be supportive of the philosophy and objectives of the Percussive Art Society. I've been a member on and off since 1982. I have no idea what those are. I probably can find them somewhere. You'd think he would qualify. Contribution. Has the nominee made an outstanding contribution to the advancement of percussion? Yeah. Eminence. Have achievements in performance, education, research, scholarship, administration, composition, or the industry distinguished the nominee from his or her contemporaries? Influence. Yeah, that's a big yes on that one. Influence. Has the nominee's influence been of major significance to the profession? Yes. Permanence. Is it probable that the nominee's accomplishments will continue to be valued by percussion professionals of the future? It will if the percussion professionals of the future have any taste and style. Editorial comment. That last sentence was mine and not theirs. So yeah, I think Airto ticks all of those boxes. Now, influence, eminence. One other thing I'll mention, I mean, this is a little bit anecdotal, but I think it is illustrative. Downbeat magazine, maybe you've heard of it. It's, I think, 80 years old now, somewhere in that neighborhood. I'll look up the exact number and stick it in a note at the bottom of the screen at this point in the video. Back when we had magazines, you'd find it on newsstands everywhere, back when we had newsstands. Their critics polls, readers polls, the best of this album of the year, best new artist, best tenor saxophonist. The category best percussionist, that's Airto. I don't just mean the fact that he won it for so many years in a row. The category exists because of Airto. They created it after he hit the scene. He kept, as I mentions it in the introduction to Spirit of Percussion. According to that, he kept winning the miscellaneous instruments category. And apparently the good people at Downbeat threw up their hands and said, okay, we can take a hint. Best percussionist category. Here it is. Enjoy. And he did. And he won it like 6, 7 years in a row. Came back, won another couple of years. The fact that they had to come up with a new category to acknowledge what he was bringing to the scene, there's your eminence, there's your influence right there. I think it's anecdotal, but I think that's a very interesting point. It is to me anyway. So I am hopeful that among those watching this video, we will have a few PAS members. I believe I have at least 2 among my subscribers. A former state chapter president and a current state chapter president. No names, you know who you are. I'm not going to call you out. If we can get a couple of people joining in, if we can get a couple of additional letters. I'm not going to put the contact information for the member of the committee up here on my website. You got to be a PAS member to take part in the nomination process. And if you are, you can get on their website and you can get to the Hall of Fame page really easily. And the nomination process and the contact information is at the bottom of that page. So if I post the guy's name and email address, he won't get 3 letters of nomination for Airto. He'll get like 75 letters from Nigerian princes looking to put money in his bank account, and that's not what we're looking for. So the nomination, the deadline, I believe, is January. I don't know I can't remember which day, if it's the end of January, but it's Halloween as I'm recording this. So we got a few months to make this happen. It's too late for 2025. As I record this, we're a couple of weeks away from the next PAS International Convention, and they've already got their 4 highly esteemed, accomplished inductees slated for the banquet that Saturday night. They're all set for 2025, but I'm hoping maybe 2026 we can make something happen. And I do have a list of some others we should get in there. We got to get Nana Vasconcelos, Trilok Gurtu, Zakir Hussein, just a couple of names that just leap to mind who are not, similarly, are not yet in the Hall of Fame. But Airto was the guy who got me started on this search, so this video is going to be about him. So hopefully we can make that happen, get Airto in there. Again, is it a big thing in the larger scheme of the world's concerns? Probably not, but it bothers me that he's not in. He should be. That's the end of it, my thought process right there. So if you can help out, much obliged. I will keep the description of this video updated, as if you write in letters on behalf of Airto, if you send in any of this information, if you've got his contact information, let me know. I will keep things posted. If we get to 3 or 4, I'll keep the total of how many people have written letters, the information we've gotten to them. So 5 years from now, hopefully we'll have gotten them in. People won't see this and start sending in letters. Well, once the process is done, I'll let everybody know. And then once we get Airto taken care of, then we can take a look at Louis Tiant. All right, that's it. I got to run. Have a good day. Thanks for checking out the video. I'll catch you next time.